Okay, everyone, let's begin. I know that probably some of you have been waiting for this for a while, but with the recent release of Space Venture, I think it's time we finally gave the good old classic series a go. So I've started up my Apple II emulator here, and to get to the basic prompt, I press Control B and then press Enter. I think I've said that a lot in previous videos. I say that pretty much every time I do an Apple IIgs video now. The reason I say that every time is to remind myself, because I know what's going to happen is in 5 years I'm going to want to run an Apple IIgs game and I'm going to forget how to get to this prompt, and I'll look up one of my old videos to see how I did it, and so I say that actually more so that I can remember how I did it when I do something like this in a few years. Okay, so I've got the disks in the drive, or they should be in the drive, so I just type PR number 5 to start, and yeah, of course, I will be, as usual, I will be doing these games I will be playing the Apple IIgs version of these games because it has much, much, much better audio than any other version that was released of these games, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. Light years from Earth's solar system, the people of the galaxy Urnon have been struggling to maintain the precious balance of life. The sun of Urnon is slowly dying, the planets grow cold, food is no longer plentiful, life will soon become impossible to sustain, and I didn't finish reading that. The effort was centered around the development of a device called the Star Generator. The Star Generator would be capable of igniting an otherwise useless planet into a raging ball of flame. An expedition set out... You know what? I'm just going to shut up and let the music play. Alright, enough of that. So, yeah, I mean, you folks know the plot of the game anyway. I think anybody watching this probably already knows the plot of Space Quest 1. I don't really need to narrate it. The game's running a little bit fast because I have the emulator set to unlimited speed. I could slow down the speed, but that makes screen transitions excruciatingly slow. I want to keep it at this speed because that means you can just go from one screen to another without having to wait for the long load time. And that long load time is realistic. I had an Apple IIgs back in the day, and you really did have to wait like 20 seconds when walking from one screen to another. It was excruciating. So I want to keep it high like this so we don't have to do that every time. And yeah, in Space in Space Quests 1 and 2, you can name your character. So you can type in whatever name you want here, and the game will actually call you by that name periodically. But it doesn't happen that often, and actually if you just leave this blank and press enter, the game will call you Roger Wilco, which becomes the de facto character's name in Space Quest 3 and onwards anyway, so we might as well just leave it at that. I'll just press enter. You might notice the music, like the intro music that played on the title screen, was actually in stereo. But the sound effects of the game appear to use only the left audio channel. I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't balance out the sound effects when they did it for the music, but it is what it is. That's just how it is. The Apple IIgs was fully capable of stereo audio, but a lot of games didn't take advantage of that. Anyway, so yeah, this is the classic start of Space Quest 1. You are startled by the sound of an alarm. It is followed by an urgent voice, which means that the Arcada has been boarded by unknown intruders. It ends abruptly. And yeah, on this version of the game, it sounds like that sort of voice that came through the PA system, I think it said battle stations, at least that's what it sounds like, which of course is very different to the PC DOS version, which most people know of this game, where it's just an alarm sound with no voiceover. So yeah, this is the start of Space Quest 1, and it's a fairly... I always felt like this game doesn't have a very inspiring start. I mean, at first it's kind of cool to walk around and explore the ship. And when I was a kid, these elevators were very cool. I like the sound they make. Again, I think the sound effect on this version of the game is much better than the DOS version. I like that sort of snappy sound they have. And of course, the fact that you just kind of appear on the other side of the elevator shaft is kind of cool. I mean, you didn't have anything like that in King's Quest. This was a time when, you know, most people had only played King's Quest and Space Quest. So this was kind of, I mean, it's just a little gimmick, but it's kind of cool. It was kind of cool for somebody who'd only played the King's Quest games. And no footsteps here? Okay. Sometimes you hear footsteps in this part, and then you have to hide. So if you hear footsteps, let's see if we can hear the footsteps. Yeah, you think you hear footsteps. So you have to hide behind this elevator here, and unable to see anyone here. The alien leaves to search elsewhere. If we had not hidden behind the elevator, he would have killed us instantly. So what do we have? Oh, really? It's interesting. Okay. I'm used to use... So the numeric keypad works for walking diagonally, but the... it's interesting. But the other keys above the arrow keys on the keyboard do not. They type letters instead, or mostly letters. Home actually types an equals sign, but the others type letters. That's interesting. Okay. What's in here? I think there's nothing here that we need. Oh yeah, and these early Sierra games didn't even give you a general room description. If you type look, I think you have to say, can I say look around? There we go. This is the Star Generator Development Laboratory. Due to your incredibly low security clearance, you've never been allowed access to this room. So, I guess the Star Generator was supposed to be here in the middle of the room, but it appears to be conspicuously absent. There is no Star Generator here to look at. Apparently it has been removed from this room. So yeah, I mean... The Space Quest games, I've noticed, they have a tendency to start you off in in the worst circumstances. Like here in this game, the game starts off with you on this ship, which is under attack. The Star Generator's been destroyed. Obviously, all the crew of the ship have been killed, as you can see by these bodies lying around. That can't be done at this location. How close do I have to be to the body? Yet another body lies motionless. All right. So... Most of the Space Quest games start off with you in really dire straits, like in really a bad condition. You kind of have to extricate yourself from that and before you can get on with the rest of the game. And this one is certainly no exception. Let's see, is there a screen up here which I can look at? Warning, self-destruct mechanism has been armed. Evacuate ship immediately. This is not a test. Time till detonation, 16 minutes and now 50 seconds. Oh boy. We'd better hurry. The VGA remake of this game actually has a timer which appears on the screens at all times, so you're always aware of how much time you have before self-destruct, which is kind of a nice touch. Here you can see it on that screen there, but you won't see it when you're out and about here walking around the ship. But there's not much to see here, so I have to be honest, I was always a little bit underwhelmed by the original Space Quest 1, by this game. It's not a bad game, but it just seems a little bit, you know, to a kid who had played King's Quest before, and King's Quest is a much larger open world and it's much more colorful. When you go from that to this sort of kind of monochromatic, actually let's get killed. Let's go ahead and get killed by a Sarian, why don't we? No, he doesn't want to show up. Gonna show up now? Nope. Come on. I just want to show the death. I mean, it's not even that spectacular of a death, but we might as well... There we go. Now we'll see a death. The alien observes his handiwork briefly, then leaves. As you lie on the floor in a smoldering, carbo-gelatinous heap, you can't help but wonder why you bothered getting up this morning. Probably because of the alarms that woke you up. Thank you for playing Space Quest. Too bad you failed miserably and doomed all your people to a horrible death at the hands of the Sarians. If you continue playing as skillfully as this, we'll never have a chance for a sequel. Better luck next time. So yeah, I can restart the game. And there's really not a whole lot to see out here. So, I've said it before, and I'll just mention again since I'm actually finally let's playing this game. The beginning of this game is obviously highly inspired by Planetfall, which was an older text adventure from Infocom. In Planetfall, you're pretty much in exactly the same situation. You're a janitor who wakes up he was sleeping in his broom closet. He wakes up as the alarms go off and the ship is under attack. The rest of the game plays out fairly differently, but Sierra did have a habit of taking old text adventures and updating them, at least in a few cases, because like the original, the first Leisure Suit Larry game is also a graphical adaptation of an old text adventure game called Soft Porn Adventure. The difference there was Sierra also published Soft Porn Adventure, so it wasn't any kind of copyright infringement to update the game for Leisure Suit Larry because they owned the intellectual property to both games, whereas in this case they kind of stole. They did a little bit of stealing. You know, the saying, "Good artists borrow, great artists steal." They basically kind of stole the concept of this game from Planetfall. But this game was very experimental. The first few screens here are really just kind of like a concept. I think I remember reading the way that this game started was they just kind of said, let's make a science fiction game. And they had absolutely no idea what the plot of the game would be. They had no idea what the settings or who the characters in the game would be. They just said, let's make a science fiction game. So they just drew up a few screens like this. They're all kind of samey. They're all basically just generic blue futuristic or maybe retro-futuristic corridors from some spaceship. Nothing really fancy. But this is kind of how they pitched the game to Ken Williams. Whoa, where are the footsteps coming from? Oh, you've just stumbled into a small, dark, and very cluttered utility closet. Many things fall, most of them landing on you. Doesn't say much for your cleaning prowess. I hit it. I went in here because I heard footsteps, and I was trying to avoid getting killed, but is this area not going to show up now? I guess not. All right. So where you actually need to go is here. I keep doing that. I keep using the other keys instead of the numeric keypad keys. So if we look around here, this is basically where you need to go first. So this is the Arcada's data archive. Many volumes of information are stored on data cartridges. There is a computer console here. Let's take a look at that console. The console consists of a screen, keyboard, and cartridge slot. That's a good old computer. That's a classic computer. You have a screen and a keyboard and a disk drive, and that's it. On top of it rests a Model DX cartridge retrieval unit. Okay. Let's look at the keyboard. Here is the usual keys found on a Xenon keyboard. About are the words Arcada Data Archive. Look at the screen. Welcome to the Arcada Data Archive, Model DX Storage and Retrieval System. To select a cartridge, enter the title below. Press Enter to quit. Title catalog available with top security clearance only. All right, I don't think we know any titles, so we can just press Enter to quit. In the VGA remake of this game, this is actually the game's copy protection. You need to look up the name of the cartridge in the game's manual. But this game, the original version of the game, has no copy protection. So, yeah, we won't have any copy protection here. So, yeah, I hope that people are not put off by my attitude towards this game. I've always felt just a little bit underwhelmed by this game. As I said, it's not a bad game, but I think the sequel is much better because with the sequel, they knew that there was really, there was a market for this kind of game. People like this kind of game, and they put a lot more effort into it. This feels kind of like a relatively low effort sort of proof of concept. So it's a little bit. Oh, the door opens and a man you recognize as one of the lab scientists enters. He appears to be injured. After only a few steps, he slumps to the floor. Let's see, can we help this gentleman out? A large laser hole has been burned in his uniform through which you can see previously unexposed tissue. Struggling painfully, he raises up on one elbow. He tells you the Arcada is under attack and that the star generator is in danger. You had better leave if you value your life. He looks over toward the shelves full of cartridges and utters the words, "Astral body." He then settles to the floor, lifeless. And we get 2 points for discovering the name of the cartridge. So let's look at the screen again. And now we can type in astral body. Searching, title found, retrieving. And that little retrieval robot knows exactly where the cartridge is. It goes there and we can get the cartridge. There we go. Done. Let's take a look at the cartridge. This is a data storage cartridge. On it are the words Astral Body Formation, the Untold Story. So yeah, in this original version of the game, the cartridge is always called Astral Body. In the VGA remake, there were something like 24 possible names that it might have. And you had to look up the name in the manual and then punch in the symbols that correspond to that name. That was the copy protection, but here, there's no copy protection. It's always Astral Body. And if you type in a name that it doesn't recognize, like, I don't know, something else, it just says title not available. So yeah, that's it. That's all we can do here. Nothing really has to be done in this room. Look at the table here. The table's used for holding things above the floor. I guess that's what most tables do. Looks like many other chairs you've seen in your lifetime. Yeah, see that they don't describe much here. There's not a lot to see here. There's not a lot to the text. Again, it just kind of feels a little bit lazy. It kind of feels like they were just kind of dipping their toes in the waters here to see what they could do with a science fiction concept. And when I was a kid, when we had this game when I was a kid, this was literally as far as I got. I did not get farther than this because it never occurred to me to search the bodies, the dead bodies that you see here. I guess maybe for some people that seems like an obvious thing to do, but for me as a kid, it never occurred to me to think, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go through the pockets of this dead corpse and see if they have something. But sure enough, on this particular body here, if you search the body, of your crewmate and find a key card. And now we can get the key card. You take the key card. And if we look at it, the key card is a flat rectangular piece of synthetic material which is magnetically keyed for passing check stations. Written in tiny letters are the words Beak and Hinder Security Systems. All right. Let's go ahead and save the game here. I'll save it as, I guess, got key card. Why not? All right. And the game is saved just like that. So, yeah, this is an example of how things can be very different for parser-based games versus point-and-click adventures. So in the VGA remake of this game, which came out in, I think, 1991, sometime early 90s, you just click the hand on that person and you automatically search their corpse and find a key card. I never figured out to do that as a kid in this game, and that's why I really like what you've seen is as far as I got. Not even kidding. That was literally as far as I got in this whole game. And you can search these other bodies as well, but you find nothing. So that's really all there is to do here. So we get the cartridge, we get the key card. That's it. That's all you can do from the upper levels of the ship. And now we need to start making our way downwards. Let's see, do we hear footsteps? No? Okay. All right. And this here is the central control area. The reactor domes pulsate irregularly as if they had been tampered with. This does not look good. Through the window just above the control console, you can see down to the vehicle bay below. So yeah, this here is the vehicle bay where vehicles would enter and exit the ship. You can see the doors are closed. Those yellow lines there are the edges, I guess, of the sliding doors. Let's take a look at this. Game mentioned a console here. Let's take a look at the console. In the console by the window are two buttons marked open bay door and close bay door. Okay. Push close. Nothing happens. Push open. Hey, the door's opened. All right. You can see space outside. Space! Space! Okay. And this is where I could not pass because, alas, it does not open. You have a door on the door with a small circle of nose grease. Were you Carl Malden, it could have gotten ugly. So yeah, this was literally as far as I got when I was a kid. I had this game for like 5 years, and I never figured out how to get past this point because it never occurred to me to search the dead bodies. But the elevator goes to another level you have never used it due to its restricted access status. Okay. Is the game going to tell me? I mean, I know that there is a keycard slot on the wall, but I'm just trying to get a description of the slot. The walls are all nondescript except for a keycard unit near the elevator. It controls access to the level below. Okay. So I don't want to just like, type in all the things. I'm trying to figure out how to get descriptions from the game. I'm trying to figure out how to get the game to tell us what we need to do because that's how you're supposed to play an adventure, even though, I mean, I know how to play this game. You all know this game. I mean, you've all probably played this game countless times as I have. So the keycard unit is a small sturdy box with a slot. Just above it is a display light which is not currently on. Put keycard in slot. You just slide the keycard into the slot. Its slot, you hear an audible click. You take the keycard back. All right. Warning. Bay doors are open. Okay, let's take that warning to heart, and I'll save here as bay doors, and let's go on with our adventure. Oh, this door does not open. The doors are controlled by buttons. You must push the appropriate one. I'm going to guess that the buttons are down here. So this is the flight prep room of the Arcada. As you can see, there is a sign on the back wall as well as 2 closet doors and 2 buttons. Okay, that's, yeah, so it's talking about this stuff back here, but I guess there's a console here as well. The console is ordered with many status indicators. 1 button on the right is marked airlock. Okay, push airlock. All right, hey, that opened the airlock. Now, theoretically, that should already kill us because even though we're not in the same room as the airlock, that door is opened, and that should suck all the air out of this room and kill us, or suck us out of the room. But the game is not quite that physics-based. So basically what happens here is we can walk this far. Oops, forgot my suit. That concludes your experiment involving the effects of total vacuum on the human body, Roger Wilco. And I'll leave it to the scientists to explain in more detail, but I'm pretty sure that you don't just explode. I actually, I've looked this up. If you look this up online, you can find people asking questions like, what happens if the human body is exposed to a hard vacuum? And the basic answer is, you would certainly die. I mean, if nothing else, you would die because you wouldn't have air to breathe, but your body wouldn't just explode. It wouldn't just pop like a balloon as is often portrayed in scenarios like this where somebody is exposed to the hard vacuum of space without a spacesuit. But it is a Sierra game, and Sierra games are known for finding creative and sometimes gruesome ways to kill the player character. So, all right, let's load the game. So, bay doors, so we're here. So obviously we need to look at the buttons back here. There are 2 buttons here, left button and a right button. Are they not marked? I guess they're not marked. All right, let's push the left button and push the right button. Okay, that just opens those doors. Can we look in the closet? It looks like an electrical gadget of some sort. Get gadget. All right. Look at the gadget. Written on the electronic gadget are the words dialect translator. On one end is a dial and a light currently dim. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's go ahead and turn on translator. You turn the dial to the right, the light begins to glow. I guess in real life, you'd probably want to conserve battery life on a thing like that because, you know, that's the nature of portable electronic gadgets. But I don't think the battery ever runs out on this gadget, so we don't need to worry about that. And this looks like a suit. Let's look in the closet here. You see a flight suit hanging in the closet, okay. Well, it's not really a... I guess it is a... Actually, I guess it is a flight suit. Now that I think about it, you know, I've never really thought about it before, but I don't think that wearing a flight suit like this is really what you need if you're going to be exposed to space. I mean, you would need a space suit with, you know, air circulation inside it. You couldn't just... These are the kinds of things that you don't really question as a kid. You know, when you're a kid playing these games, you just think, oh, cool, okay, of course I need the suit to survive in space. But it's not that simple, actually. You can't just, like, I mean, his face is exposed. I mean, he has goggles covering his eyes, but you don't need goggles covering your eyes. You need, like, a breathing mask to get oxygen. You need to, and, you know, with his exposed hands and things like that. No, this wouldn't protect him from hard vacuum in real life, but it's just a game, so let's not get too caught up on details here. Let's take a look at this console here. In the console, you see a button marked platform. There are also some gauges which don't interest you. All right, pretty straightforward. So again, one button, push platform. There's now an escape pod here. So this game's very straightforward. There really wasn't a lot of, sophistication to these first screens of the game. This is all just really like a proof of concept. It will get a little bit more in depth later. There's going to be more going on later, but yeah. Yeah. All right, let's just get into the pod. And here we are. So we're sitting in the pilot seat of the escape pod facing toward the window. There's a dark console before you and seatbelt straps at your side. Confused as to what you should do, you wish you would have paid more attention during crew orientation. Well, I guess it's a good idea to wear your seatbelt. Done. Okay. There's a red button there. I'm going to guess that I need to push the button. There are 3 buttons here. They're marked auto nav, power, and don't touch. All right. Well, I guess before we can do anything, we'll probably have to push power. Okay. Seems all right. Look at the screen there. Escape pod systems activated, ready for instructions. Emergency program initiated. Pull throttle to execute launch sequence. All right, let's pull that throttle. Your door is ajar. No, it is not ajar. It is a door. If it were ajar, it would have jam in it. All right, close the door, done. All right, let's try pulling that lever now. Let me just quickly check. Did I forget anything? I don't think I forgot anything. Like I said, the start of this game is very simple. You just need to make sure you have the data cartridge. And other than that, there's not really anything that you can miss here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, I'm pretty sure I got everything. All right, so let's go ahead and pull the lever. The escape pod moves slowly out into space. Congratulations! You have narrowly escaped an explosive death. Don't start patting yourself on the back just yet, though. You are now traveling aimlessly through the cosmos. In this version, they don't show the explosion of the Arcada. In the VJ remake, there's actually this spectacular escape sequence where you see the pod ejecting out of the ship, and the ship blows up just a second later, just as the pod is... Oh. Due to a lack of navigation, you've exhausted the meager amount of emergency fuel without finding a safe place to land. You are lost in space. Yeah, okay, so... I was here. So obviously you need to push auto nav. I mean, the pod doesn't have a proper navigation system, but let's press don't touch. It said don't touch. I warned you. Oh. Ken, did you hear something? Oh, that was Roberta. Ken, did you hear something? It was probably just the Gators entertaining another Space Quest player. Go back to sleep, Berta. Through a strange quirk of fate, or was it? You have stumbled into a place beyond time, space, and dimension. You have entered the Daventry Zone. That's right, the land of King's Quest. This will not help you now since you're playing Space Quest. Good to know. And I died. I guess I got eaten by... Well, I was going to say, I guess I got eaten by the alligators, but actually the impact probably killed me long before the alligators got to my body, so they probably, if they ate anything, they probably ate my already dead corpse. But anyway. Okay, that was the escape sequence from the Arcada. I do plan to play the VGA remake after this. I usually don't like. You folks know that I'm usually kind of allergic to point and click interfaces. I usually prefer parser interfaces, but this game is just. Again, it just feels a little bit unfinished to me. It feels really like a proof of concept to me. It kind of feels like it feels a little bit half-hearted, and they improved it a lot for the VGA remake. They added a lot. It sounds and looks a lot better, of course. There's a little bit more to it. There's just more going on overall. It just feels like a more complete game. So most times I don't do remakes of classic games, but in this case I probably will do the VGA remake after I'm done with this version of the game. So, but until then, I'm going to take a pause here. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. This has been the Arcada part of Space Quest 1. Pretty good game. Like I said, I like this game, but I just feel like it's just like a taste, just kind of like an initial sort of taste of what's to come, because the later Space Quest games are much better. So we'll get through this, and then we'll see some better stuff happening later. But until then, once again, thanks for watching, everyone. I will talk to you all later. Until then, bye-bye for now.